Everyone healthy tonight? Are you easily chanting the holy name? And only thinking about Krishna? Is that easy? That's simple? Maybe I'm missing something. Welcome, welcome. Everybody, are you awake?
Yes.
Oh, you're not. What are you doing back there?
The one who is not here yet.
Huh?
The translator is not here yet.
What is it?
Translator's not here yet.
Oh, you're going to translate in between? He's not coming?
He's on the way.
He's not coming at all?
He's on the way.
Oh, he's on the way. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Govinda Swami, Srila Gurudeva ki, Samaveda Bhakta Binda ki, Nitai Gauranga ki, Gaura Premanande. Hare Krishna. Did Sharab leave? He left, huh? Who got him to put that hat on is my only question. Who talked him into putting that hat on? Was it Adam? Hare Krishna. Are we ready?
Yes.
What do you want to talk about? What's the topic? Not many people here tonight. A lot of people having doubts after last night's transcendental class. They're all at the ISKCON psychologist right now. Does somebody have a... You? Oh, you had the point? Oh yeah? What is your topic?
Giving up selfishness for the pleasure of Krishna.
What services?
Giving up selfishness.
Giving up selfishness to...
For the pleasure of Krishna.
Are you getting pleasure with your selfishness? Are you feeling really happy with yourself being the center of the universe? And thinking, I, me and mine? Do you enjoy being selfish? Does it make you feel good? Hello? Selfish, extended selfishness, right? Thinking about I, me and mine, the body, my mind, my feelings, my emotions, my sense gratification, my economic development, pleasure for ourselves, giving pleasure to the material family, just all different type of material selfishness. So Prabhupada said to you, everyone wants to be happy. Welcome. But you don't know how to be happy. Everyone's trying to be happy, separate from thinking about pleasing, satisfying Guru and Krishna. That's the fundamental root of our problem. So every single adjustment that we're coming up with, that we're speculating about, it's all coming from Maya, and it all just involves making different adjustments to try to maximize pleasure and to minimize suffering and anxiety. So Maya's just giving is endless through time immemorial, different variations of different types of gross and subtle material adjustments and varieties and opportunities. And we're just trying endlessly to find some peace, some happiness, some satisfaction, to get rid of any anxiety, suffering, pain. But every one of those alternatives is all coming from Maya, with the promise that if you just do this, if you just attain that, if you just move there, if you just make this adjustment or that adjustment, then your mind, your body, your emotional state, then you'll be peaceful, then you'll be happy. So we're just endlessly in this loop of analyzing, are we happy or not happy? And if we're not happy, what adjustments do we have to make to find that happiness? So this is all different type of bodily consciousness, bodily selfishness. So we'll read a verse tonight that talks about this unhappiness and why we cannot get out of that no matter how many adjustments we make. What do you think about that? Yeah. All right. So it's close to what we were going to talk about. So we're going to dovetail the answer and hopefully add a little bit more so you're satisfied with the answer regarding selfishness. Right? Hare Krishna. So let's turn to the verse. Let's read the verse from Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading in Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's a 4th chapter, Transcendental Knowledge. And we're going to read text number 40. 440, Bhagavad Gita, Transcendental Knowledge. Please repeat. Agyas cha ashradhana cha samshaya atma vinishyati na ayam loka asti na para na sukham samshaya ātmana agyascha shradhananascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti na paro na sukham samshayatmana agyascha shradhananascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti na paro na sukham samshayatmana. Anyone want to try?
Samshayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti na paro na sukham samshayatmana agyascha shradhananascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti na paro na sukham samshayatmana
Agyasya Shraddhadanascha
Agyasya Shraddhadanascha
Samsayatma Vinashyati
Samsayatma Vinashyati
Nayam Lokasti Naparo
Nayam Lokosti Naparo
Sukham Samsayatmana
Nasukam Samsayatmana. Agyanash. Agyana. A fool who has no knowledge in standard scriptures. Cha. And ashradhana. Without faith in revealed scriptures. Cha. Also. Samshaya. Of doubts. Ātman. A person. Vinashyati. Falls back. Na. Never. I am. In this. Loka. World. Asti. There is. Na. Nor. Para. In the next life. Na. Not. Sukham. Happiness. Samshaya. Doubtful. Atmana. Of the person. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures, they do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is no happiness in this world, nor in the next. Please repeat. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is no happiness in this world, nor in the next. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Out of many standard and authoritative revealed scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita is the best. Persons who are almost like animals have no faith in or knowledge of the standard revealed scriptures. And some, even though they have knowledge of or can cite passages from the revealed scriptures, have actually no faith in these words. And even though others may have faith in scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, they do not believe in or worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Such persons cannot have any standing in Krishna consciousness, therefore they fall down. Out of all of the above mentioned persons, those who have no faith and are always doubtful make no progress at all. Can you adjust the sound? It sounds like a little off. Can you give me like a better sound? Too much trouble. Too loud, too much trouble. Little more volume. Hare Krishna, little more volume. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Little less volume. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Very good, you're awake. Hare Krishna. Is that better? Prabhupada says that out of all of the above mentioned persons, those who have no faith and are always doubtful, they make no progress at all. Men or persons without faith in God and His revealed word or scripture, they find no good in this world, nor in the next. For them there is no happiness whatsoever. One should therefore follow the principles of the revealed scriptures with faith, and thereby be raised to the platform of real knowledge. Only this knowledge will help one become promoted to the transcendental platform of spiritual understanding. In other words, doubtful persons have no status whatsoever in spiritual emancipation or liberation. One should therefore follow in the footsteps of great acharyas who are in the disciplic succession and hear from them and thereby attain all success. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmetam Jana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Again, translation. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is no happiness in this world, nor in the next. And the word for word, agya means Prabhupada translated, a fool who has no knowledge in standard scriptures. So the fool has no knowledge in standard scriptures, and they are without faith in the revealed scriptures, and they are simply filled with so many doubts. Prabhupada says those persons who are almost like animals, means no horns and no tail, they have no faith in or knowledge of standard revealed scriptures. And Prabhupada said if you're not following in Daivi Varnashram system on the guidance of Krishna, bona fide Guru, and following the Vedic scriptures or injunctions, then you're in animal consciousness. You're considered to be not in a human consciousness. So almost like animals means no tail and no horns. But otherwise consciousness, mentality, instinctual desires, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, that's all we can know in that kind of consciousness. So this is really talking about, Prabhupada said everyone wants to be happy, but you don't know how to be happy. And so we're trying to enjoy selfishly, separately from thinking how to surrender and serve and please Krishna in the mood of loving devotion. So this tama, this ignorance, tamagun, very, very much prevalent in the Kali Yuga, Kalau Shuddha Sambhava. Almost everyone is overwhelmed by this type of ignorance. And because of this lust, this is also being prompted by this rajagun. So mostly tamagun, rajagun means lower levels of consciousness, and therefore all they know, Prabhupada says, only conditioned soul, all they know is whatever their mind is saying, so-called intelligence, mind, speculative mind, intelligence, and how they're feeling, how they emotionally are feeling. So they know their body and how their body is feeling, and they know the mind or their intellect only because they're just simply addicted to listening to that mental speculation. We're addicted to mental speculation on bodily platform. So if we're not on the platform of the soul and we cannot hear Krishna, which is from transcendental platform, means we're just still under very heavy modes of ignorance and material contaminated consciousness. And because of that, Krishna says, because of this false ego, where we're identifying with the body and the mind and the bodily relations, then because of all of that false ego platform, we cannot hear Krishna. We cannot hear any transcendental knowledge or information which is coming from Shuddha Sattva or spiritual platform. So because of that ignorance, because of that false ego platform, Krishna says, you cannot hear me. So if we cannot hear Krishna, we cannot even purify our consciousness. And without purified consciousness and getting freed from this false ego or bodily concept of life, we cannot develop faith in the topics related to the soul, related to God, related to Krishna, related to Sanatana Dharma or Bhakti. Any of those transcendental fourth-dimensional topics cannot really be understood because we cannot hear properly. And without being able to hear properly, we cannot develop faith. So we remain faithless. Those who are ignorant and tamagun and they're faithless, they cannot put their faith or trust in the revealed scriptures. The Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, directly Supreme Personality of Godhead, giving instructions. We discussed last night about Vaikuntha, and Prabhupada was explaining that you cannot think up what is going on in Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world. What is Krishna doing with his devotees? What are their activities? We have no way of understanding anything that's going on that transcendental platform, a fourth dimensional platform. And unless those personalities, Krishna and Krishna's eternal associates, descend here and explain directly from their own experience, realization, and faith, then the living entities here in the Maya Jagat, which is just complete ignorance, tamagun, they have no access to, no way to come in contact with the fourth dimensional, transcendental, or spiritual topics or understanding. So Prabhupada explains that Bhagavan and Bhakta and Bhakti, they're not of the material world. So unless Krishna comes and establishes religious principles, it is said only God himself can establish himself. And of course Krishna is saying, by all the Vedas I am to be known. And the whole purpose of the whole Vedic culture is Sanatana Dharma, means of bhakti. Krishna says, abandon all other processes, karma, jnana, yoga. Just do bhakti, Sanatana Dharma. And that means serving God, Krishna, with loving devotion. So Prabhupada said this is the purpose of religion, is to realize that we're eternal servants of Krishna, agree to surrender to serve God in a mood of loving devotion. The more we're purified, the more that we're surrendered. Krishna says, the more that I'll reveal myself to you. And one who can understand Krishna, Krishna's activities, how and why he's coming and manifesting, and what is his purposes, then when they leave this body, they go back home, back to Godhead, back to Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan. And Prabhupada said this is the perfection of religion. So Krishna himself, when he wants to give perfection of religion, then only he can give Krishna prema. So only Krishna can give Krishna prema, and of course he does that, we discussed last night, he does that through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So by chanting pure holy name, prema nam sankirtan, then the outcome of that type of chanting is one develops Krishna prema. So Krishna says, if you can get this intelligence from me, if you want to surrender to me, you want to serve me, you want to get out of ignorance, you want to get out of your suffering condition, you want to learn how to know about God and who is God and what is our duty or our responsibility as a soul, then Krishna as Paramatma, Chaitya Guru, Antaryami, he'll give us intelligence and faith, how to know him, how to have faith in him, and ultimately how to come to him. Krishna says that intelligence will come from me. But if we cannot hear from Krishna, directly or through Krishna Parampara, disciplic succession, and we can't hear Krishna as Paramatma Chetaguru, and we can't hear Krishna manifesting through the scriptures, then how, because of our ignorance, because of material polluted, contaminated consciousness, then how will we be able to develop faith in these topics which are beyond any type of three-dimensional, speculative, or intellectual, or sentimental endeavor? None of those things will bring us to be able to understand properly or to have genuine faith. That faith ultimately comes from Krishna. So it's explained that Krishna as Paramatma Chetaguru is giving intelligence and faith. If we can't hear, then how will get that information, that intelligence and the faith? So therefore purification by the mercy of Krishna, mercy of Krishna devotee, mercy of the process of bhakti and hearing from Shastra, that gradual process being released through that purification, to the mercy of that purification process, and we can't get freed from this bodily false ego platform, then Krishna says, you'll not be able to hear from me. So we will remain ignorant and will remain faithless, and only will be listening to the stupid mind on the false ego platform, and just giving all different speculative and prompting of all different types of, materialistic thoughts, ideas, plans, speculations based on material sense gratification. As explained Prabhupada in Srimad Bhagavatam, he said those in bodily concept of life, this is the spiritual disease. So if 90% of the people, all they know is their body and their mind, all they know is their body and bodily relations, then that selfishness and extended selfishness, Prabhupada explains, this is the root cause of every other sinful thought and activity that you can perform. Because all of that sense gratification, which is not for the pleasure of the Lord, it's all sinful activity, more or less. So without getting freed from the false ego, getting freed from bodily concept of life, getting freed from this body and bodily relation conception, we cannot hear properly. If we cannot hear properly, we cannot develop not only purification, which is also necessary, but will not be able to develop faith. We're not going to develop faith by reading. Only faith can be developed by hearing, and that hearing means being able to hear from Krishna and Krishna's bona fide authorized representative, and through the Shastra, through the scriptures. So Guru, Shastra, Atmarupe, those are three places that Krishna gives the soul, the living entity, spiritual intelligence and faith. Inside is Paramatma Chetaguru, Krishna, externally coming in the form of bona fide Guru, who's coming in bona fide authorized disciplic succession, and speaking bona fide authorized scriptures and translations, which are empowered and authorized directly from Krishna himself. So Prabhupada said there's so many different translations of Bhagavad Gita, hundreds and hundreds of them, but the problem with all of those translations is that the speaker or the writer, they used their imagination, they interpreted Krishna's words, they added their own poetic license, they added or subtracted, so therefore they could not produce and Krishna not manifest there in those translations, because it's not as it is. So Prabhupada explains that all those translations, nobody read those translations, got purified, and thought, let me completely surrender to Krishna and leave my family, my culture, my religion, my job, whatever. None of those translations inspired people to want to fully surrender and dedicate their life to serving Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada, because he's bona fide authorized representative parampara or disciplic succession. Therefore, he's producing Bhagavad Gita as it is, and Prabhupada said why it's so effective in purifying and convincing people to surrender to Krishna, to want to become Krishna devotee, is because I didn't add anything to it and I didn't subtract anything from it. I didn't interpret anything, I didn't change anything. And therefore it remains as it's meant to be, without any adulteration, without any type of contamination or speculation or sentimentality or any type of gross or subtle material motivation. None of that is within Srila Prabhupada's bona fide authorized rendition. I don't know if rendition is the word, or translation of Bhagavad Gita as it is. I remember when I went to the bookstore first time, somebody told me about Bhagavad Gita. And when I went to the big bookstore, there was only one little translation of Bhagavad Gita. And I was disappointed because I heard so many powerful things about Bhagavad Gita, and it was just basically some small paperback translation of just the text. And then I was reading on the elevator, and it was talking about Brahman and Kurukshetra, and I don't really understand all of these terms. And fortunately, someone was on the elevator and said, "What are you reading?" And I said, "Oh, it's a book called Bhagavad Gita." And he said, "No, don't read that translation." Just some stranger on the elevator. "Don't read that translation." And I said, "Okay. I don't know who you are, but that's a pretty strong statement." And I said, "What translation should I read?" And he said, "Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada." So I said, "Okay." There's only me and him on the elevator, right? I'm on my lunch break. I'm waiting to go up the floors. I'm just thumbing through the Bhagavad Gita. And this person in the back of the elevator, "What are you reading?" "Oh, it's just some book, Bhagavad Gita." No, don't read that translation." "Okay." "Yeah, read Bhagavad Gita as it is by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So I just said, "Okay, that's a long name, but all right." And then when I got off on my floor to go to this company I work for, this person also got up the elevator. And then he walked in the same office that I was working in. And I was just, watching him other side of the office like for a few days. And I said, "Oh, this guy looks like some kind of spiritual person." And I was secretly practicing spiritual life. And I just said, "Oh, he looks like a spiritually minded person." I said, "Maybe I'll ask him." And I said, you practice spiritual life? You look like a spiritually minded person." And he said, "Yes, actually I'm disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada." And I know this is the same person who said you should get the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And then he brought me that book, he gave me that book, and then he had a cassette. I'm old. They had a cassette, and it was Srila Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he put it on my desk, right? So I'm just reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then he gave me a book of Sharanagati by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And then I read I opened that book, Sharanagati, and immediately I said, "That's what I'm looking for. That's what I've been looking for." And then I went home and I started reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. And I was always wondering who is God. I kept asking all the priests, all the different religious people that I met. Nobody could say anything. Nobody could answer my question. Then when I read Krishna's instructions from Bhagavad Gita, then God in the heart, Krishna in the heart, I didn't know that was Krishna. But I know God is giving intelligence and faith inside. And he said that this person who's speaking in Bhagavad Gita, that's me. This is the same personality. So only Krishna can give that type of intelligence and faith to somebody who sincerely, seriously wants to try to understand what is God, can we know God, what is our duty or responsibility, what is our service, what does God want us to do, all of these type of questions, that's required. Unless you have some faith in the spiritual realm, then you cannot really desire spiritually to want to understand all of those things. And Prabhupada explained that when you convince Krishna that you're really looking for him, and you really want to come to him, you really want to understand him, you really want to surrender to him, and you really want to serve him in this mood of devotion, then Krishna will know, oh, now this soul is looking for me. Now he's making this type of inquiry. So Prabhupada said, this is the only thing, is what is that Krishna has witnessed and judged in the heart of the living entity, is saying, how much does this person really want me? How much do they really want to know me, or surrender to me, or serve me? Krishna is the witness and the judge of that. If we can somehow or other be convinced enough to convince Krishna, then Krishna says, I'll give you intelligence and faith, understanding how you can know me and how you can come to me. That first mercy comes from Krishna. And by the mercy of Krishna, one then gets bona fide guru. And by the mercy of bona fide guru, one gets Krishna. So Prabhupada said these two mercies of Krishna, Adi Guru, Chetu Guru, an external manifestation, bona fide spiritual master, in disciplic succession, parampara, those two mercies are required. All the qualification, all the intelligence, and all the faith will be delivered by that association and our ability to eagerly and attentively want to hear from Krishna and hear from Krishna's representative bona fide spiritual master. So we have to pass that test. Krishna was not preaching to Arjuna, even though he's Bhagavan, Supreme Personality of Godhead, until Arjuna surrendered. When Arjuna couldn't solve his problem, when he was so bewildered and so confused and so weak, becoming weaker and weaker and weaker, he could understand nothing I can think of, nothing I can do, none of my plans, none of my speculation, ideas, none of it's working. Then he admitted his defeat. The best I could think of, the best of my intelligence, the best of my instructions or understanding of Vedic civilization and culture and Vedic knowledge, all of that is still not enough. He is not satisfied. He's not getting any real relief. And that forced him to surrender to Krishna. And then once he surrendered to Krishna, he said, please, let's stop the friendly talks, because they were friends. But Arjuna said, I need you to be my spiritual master. And then once Krishna understood, oh, he's now surrendering to me, now he's prepared, now he's very eager to hear from me, now he's looking for instructions, then Krishna started to speak to him and preach to him and explain Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. It says that out of many standard authoritative revealed scriptures, Bhagavad Gita is the best because it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the cause of all causes, Avatari, the source of all other incarnations, the seed-giving father of all the living entities, the personality, all the demigods and all of the authorities and all of the Vedic history and Vedic culture are saying is Bhagavan, and Krishna himself says there's no truth superior to me. And without hearing from that realm, no one can understand. There's no religion in the world where God himself is directly instructing the soul how to purify and qualify themselves to come to understand the absolute truth, even on this platform, and ultimately prepare yourself to leave the body in order to come in next life into Golok Vrindavan or Vaikuntha. There's no religion, there's no scripture on the planet where that description of God and what he looks like and how he speaks and how he's dealing with his devotees in Vaikuntha, in spiritual world. There's no scriptures, there is no instructions, there is no religion anywhere on this planet that can establish the absolute truth and everything related to the absolute truth except Vedic culture, means Krishna culture, and the Vedas, which are compiled and spoken by Krishna himself to Lord Brahma. And Krishna says, by all of those Vedas, I am to be known. And if you know me, you know that there's no truth superior to me. And therefore, abandon all these other so-called dharmas, karma, jnana, yoga, man-made dharmas. That's all kaitava dharma. The real dharma is bhakti, that's sanatan dharma. So here you have the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all creation, giving the highest religious principles of prem bhakti, sanatan dharma, to bring us back to the highest possible position and planet and relationship with him and his most intimate eternal associates. And we're like, no interest. This is the most unfortunate thing. Such an unbelievable offer, and we have no interest in it. Because we have a karma adhikar. We just want some money and some sense gratification. That's all. No dharma, no mukti, no bhakti. Right? Dharma, artha, kama, moksha, bhakti. Purushartha. Right? Dharma, artha, kama, moksha, bhakti. Parama purushartha, bhakti. But in Kali Yuga, there's no dharma. No one's interested in real dharma. No one's interested in moksha. And certainly most are not interested in bhakti. So what's left? Get some money to enjoy sense gratification. And because of that karma adhikar, therefore we have no interest, no liking, no taste, no desire to really eagerly try to understand what is being offered here. And it's explained that Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, these instructions by Krishna and by Krishna devotees, Mahaprabhu, this is meant for people who want to become liberated, who want to get out of a bodily concept of life and free from material attachment, material desire, material sinful activity, and sinful reaction. If that's not our goal and our desire and our interest, you cannot hear these instructions. You cannot take advantage of these instructions because we'll have no faith. They go, oh, this is old, this is mythology, this is some speculation, someone must have done a lot of drugs and wrote all of this type of thing. Hare Krishna. So therefore Prabhupada says those persons who are almost like animals, that means the animal consciousness, they have no faith in. They cannot put faith in these instructions. They cannot gather a real understanding. This is very confusing for them. My Gurudev used to say that if you're very simple, then this is very easy to understand. If you're not simple, this, no matter what, this seems so confusing and complex and difficult to understand. So it's a lack of simplicity. It's a lack of piety, a lack of sukriti. Because we are so contaminated by this Kali Yuga and so much endless sinful activities and sinful reactions that we've just developed so much ignorance, so much false ego, so much disqualification to be able to hear these instructions from Krishna, from the Guru, from the Shastra. So this lack of simplicity, this is the root of the problem. And we're lacking simplicity means we're thinking we're very intelligent, we're addicted to mental speculation, and we're just concocting and this is the very reason why we have doubts. If no, but you're simple, then Krishna, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra will give you the answer. If we don't want to know, and we want to be doubtful that we can know, then we're just maintaining all of this reasons for why we don't have to accept this, all of this information. Then we're just concocting, coming up with so many endless doubts. When Arjuna had a question or he had a doubt, he said, okay, this is not, helping me. So then he brought to his spiritual master, and his spiritual master, his responsibility is to answer the question and to destroy the doubt by establishing transcendental absolute answer, which is coming directly from Krishna. Only Krishna can convince you. Only Krishna can purify you, answer your questions, and destroy your doubts. It's just a question of how is Krishna delivering that to you? Where can you hear that from? From internally? Through the Shastra? Through the Guru? That's the only question, how it will be delivered. But the intelligence and the faith to overcome doubts and to answer things in a scientific way according to the science of the absolute truth, that can only be and come from Krishna. So if we cannot hear Krishna directly like Arjuna, or hear Krishna manifesting through parampara, disciplic succession, and we can't hear Krishna, who is the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita, then we're lost. We're just groping in the dark, especially regarding this spiritual or transcendental topics. Those who are not simple, they cannot hear. And what are they hearing? The mad mind. They're hearing. They're surrendering. Definitely hearing and surrendering. But from who? Is it from Krishna or from Maya? We get two options. Based on your desire. If you have spiritual desire, Krishna will give you intelligence and faith. You have materialistic desire and you want to enjoy separate from Krishna, Maya will capture your intelligence, mind, and senses. Maya will dictate to you how to pursue your sinful, materialistic thoughts, desires, plans, like this. So that prompting is either going to come from Krishna or it's going to come from Maya, and that's based on our desire and the strength of our desire. So if we are not simple, then we cannot hear properly. And if we don't hear properly, we cannot develop faith. We cannot develop a transcendental scientific understanding of the process of bhakti, whereby that Shastra is meant to be a weapon to be able to cut or destroy all different types of demons or ignorance that come in the form of these doubts. So it's a question of faith. From a Dao Shraddha to Prema, all it is a cultivation from beginning faith to full faith. And all of that faith, ultimately means the shraddha, right? Is that it? The faith? That, right? The shraddha, that comes from Krishna. So Krishna says, based on your desire, I'll give you intelligence and faith. You want to enjoy material, karmic, sinful life, I'll give you intelligence and faith how to do like that. You want to worship the demigods because you want some materialistic benediction, I'll give you intelligence and faith how to do that. You want to worship your forefathers, you want to worship, your family or celebrities, or I'll give you intelligence and faith how to do all of that. And Krishna says, and if you want to worship me and you want to surrender to me and come to me, I'll also give you intelligence and faith how to do that. So it's really based on our desire and the strength of our desire, which determines the quality of the intelligence and faith that we're receiving, whether it's completely pure or whether it's subtly or grossly contaminated by Maya. Those who cannot hear, they're not simple, they cannot develop faith. Therefore, Prabhupada says they're always doubtful. Every step of the way, doubting. And because they're always doubtful, this undermines their faith and their determination to surrender to Krishna. And those doubts are like demons, and those are always doubting, they make no progress at all in spiritual life. So if we're not making any progress at all in the spiritual life, it's because of doubts, demons of doubt. And we're just listening to the demons of doubt, and we're taking it as very, very important, and we're just tuned in and listen to all of this speculation and all of these doubts which is being offered up and prompted by Maya, and we're trying to psychoanalyze that and see what aspect of that is spiritual, which of course none of it is, right? If we have no faith in Krishna, in God, in His Word, in His instruction, in the Shastra, then we can find no good in this world. What does that mean? You can find no good in this world. It's all bad, it's all faulty. It's all just variations of Maya, right? So that's all faulty, it's all selfish, it's all exploitative, it's all based on exploitation and violence of other living entities in order to satisfy our senses. And they can find no good in all of their actions and reactions because it's all faulty work. Therefore, it's all faulty reaction or karma pala. So they can find no real good because their works are not good. So therefore, the results are also not good, not only in this world, but also in the next world. And for them, there is no happiness whatsoever. So what is this so-called happiness that we're thinking that we're having here when we're filled with doubts, not surrendered to Krishna, not accepting His instructions, but yet we're feeling relatively okay? What is that? That's the illusion of Maya, right? Hare Krishna. Where are you going? Huh? Are you trying to escape? What is it?
I'm just coming, Prabhuji.
You're just coming, or you're just leaving?
Toilet.
You're coming back? All right. Hare Krishna. I'm looking at you. No one escapes. Nobody escapes the absolute truth. If you're fortunate. So really this is a question of faith. And Prabhupada says that the faith comes by association. And that means associating and hearing from Krishna, and association and hearing from Krishna's devotee, Krishna's bona fide devotees. And when they're speaking, what they're presenting is exactly what Krishna's presenting and speaking. They're not making some other thing up, some other concoction, manufacturing some other thing. They're just saying, like Prabhupada says, Krishna says, surrender to me, sa-vidyām and prityaja. And bona fide Guru is saying, it's in all of our best interest to surrender to Krishna. So it's the same exact instruction. Nothing added, nothing subtracted. So it's really a development of faith. So we have some type of ignorance where we're having faith in materialism, our ability within materialism, our plan for somehow trying to find some stability or happiness or pleasure. We have faith in that. We have some type of confidence in that. And so by hearing Krishna's instruction where he says that I've created the material world to be a temporary and miserable place, which is filled with so many different types of misery, and every step is danger, well, that information seriously disturbs the plan, doesn't it? Because we want a permanent, blissful place where we can be happy and we can just enjoy. But that's not here. This is prison house. So we need doubts to stay in ignorance so we can somehow or other keep believing this illusion. I remember one time my father was eating dinner and he was eating some meat. And I was saying, Father, do you realize what's going to happen to you in your next life? And he was like, what? I said, you're going to have to suffer like that animal you're eating. You have to take birth in as many hairs that is on that animal. You have to take that many births as that same animal and being slaughtered. And my father's like, maybe what you're saying is right, but right now, I'm trying to enjoy this dinner, this supper. So this information is like, I don't want to hear this right now. It's like too much information, right? TMI, too much information. So people, they want to stay in ignorance because they want to believe that they can enjoy. Therefore, they don't want anybody to speak the truth to them. And then we just say, well, I have some doubts. I'm just being intelligent. I'm just not blindly accepting. Right? No, you're keeping the doubts because you don't want to surrender. If you really want to surrender and doubts come, you'll try to destroy the doubt because the doubt's trying to pull you away from surrendering to Krishna. If you're not trying to get your doubts destroyed, that's your desire. Because that's now your excuse why you don't have to surrender to Krishna. Because I have doubts. I'm just trying to be convinced and Prabhupada said you can be Krishna conscious in a moment if you would just cooperate. So because we're not simple and we're not putting faith in the instructions because that's not our desire, therefore we don't want to cooperate, therefore we need doubts. We need an excuse why we don't have to surrender, isn't it? And then if you want to surrender, but the doubt is disturbing you from surrendering, then you go to the Guru and say, please preach to me in such a way, O Madhusudana, please destroy these doubts, because it's making it difficult for my desire to want to surrender to Krishna. That's the duty of the disciple, to get his doubts cleared. And it's the duty, responsibility of the guru to be able to preach in such a way to destroy your doubt, to undermine your faith and determination in Maya. If we could destroy our doubts, we don't need a guru. Just preach to yourself, destroy your doubts. We're not even conscious enough to know we have doubts. Sometimes they always say, oh, my mind's disturbed. I say, what is your mind saying? It's like, I don't really know, but, I just don't feel good. They're not even conscious even of what the Maya is telling them. I just have some doubts, that's all I can hear. And therefore, we cannot surrender to Krishna. We cannot engage in devotional service. Therefore, it says that there is no happiness. Our happiness comes from Krishna. Did you ever hear that? Ignorance is bliss? Yeah. So Prabhupada said association means hearing. Without simplicity, we cannot hear. Without hearing, we cannot develop faith. We cannot develop transcendental knowledge. Therefore, we cannot destroy the doubts, which are like demons, undermining determination and faith to surrender to Guru and Krishna. Prabhupada says, those who maintaining these doubts, doubtful persons, they have no status whatsoever in spiritual emancipation or liberation. We're stuck under modes of material nature, getting heavy lashes because of these doubts. Now, if we just don't know something, and we just are simple, and you pray to Krishna, Krishna, please help me to understand this thing, then Krishna says, I'll give you intelligence and faith to understand it. Inside, outside, through the Shastra, no problem. Oh, it seems so difficult. No, it's only difficult because we're not simple, and we cannot put faith, and we cannot hear Krishna's instructions. Therefore, we're just speculating, concocting, manufacturing, misunderstanding, and creating confusion and chaos in our life and others' lives around us. And then we're doing crisis management. So self-inflicted chaos and crisis management. And then we're saying, I'm fine. Everything's cool. It's easy. What's the problem? Therefore, Prabhupada said one should follow in the footsteps of great acharyas who are in the disciplic succession and must hear from them. Because Krishna is going to speak through them. Can you hear Krishna, Paramatma, Chaitanya Guru, Super Soul speaking to you and preaching to you, explaining everything to you? Is that coming from Krishna? Krishna says, I'm in the heart of everyone. From me is coming intelligence, faith, and knowledge, and remembrance. So is that coming? Can we hear Krishna inside? Is he answering all of your questions? Is he destroying all of your doubts? Can't hear anything. And Krishna knows that. That's why he comes as a guru. Bona fide guru is pure via medium of Krishna. Paramatma tattva means guru tattva. External manifestation of Paramatma Chaitanya Guru, that is Shri Guru, that's spiritual master. So what Krishna is telling inside, now he's telling to the Guru, and then the Guru is quoting Guru Sadhu Shastra to substantiate those authoritative statements and instructions so that you can understand it clearly inside, outside, and to the Shastra. Then you can accept it. Then you can take it as absolute. Then you can make it your life and your soul. Otherwise you'll be doubting, accepting, rejecting, speculating, trying to figure it out on your own. At the same time, Guru and Krishna are trying to tell you. Means no simplicity. Therefore, the spiritual master will not try to instruct you, because Krishna will not preach to you. When Arjuna doing whatever he's doing, Krishna is not preaching to Arjuna. It's when Arjuna stopped trying to figure it out and then surrendered because he realized my way is not working. Then he said, please, humbly, please instruct me, please tell me what is my duty, how can I serve you, how can I please you? Then Krishna started to preach to him, explain everything to him. Does anyone have any points or questions so far? We're talking about faith, happiness. Krishna says without getting free from doubts, you cannot be happy in this world or the next world. And if you have doubts, you'll fall down. What does that mean? You're already fallen down in doubtful condition. What does that mean? Then you'll fall down. What does that mean? If you maintain your doubts, then you'll fall down. Isn't that already a fallen position?
You start making progress, you have doubts, then you'll just...
So if you let the doubts linger, then whatever progress you're making, then it'll drag you back down. It'll drag you away from... Maya has covering potency and dragging away potency. So if we're not hearing regularly, sufficiently, properly, Krishna, Guru Sadhu Shastra, then we're hearing Maya, and that will contaminate you, cover your consciousness, make you forgetful, and then drag you away from bhakti, the process of devotional service. So covering and dragging away potency comes when there's a lack of sufficient and proper hearing from bona fide authorized sources of Krishna, Parampara, Guru Sadhu Shastra. And it also means falling down, losing human form of life. Because every risk, every chance that we'll lose human form of life, if this is being offered to us and we don't take advantage of it, then there's no guarantee that we're going to get another shot anytime soon in the human form of life. And we're like, oh well. But what if you come back as a dog? And so dogs are nice. I like dogs. Okay, then come back as a dog. Okay, no problem.
Hopefully not in China.
Short life. Short life in China. Any other questions, points, besides Max? What, Max?
Yeah, so the human form of life is meant for spiritual realization. Why are there so many humans on this planet, especially born in countries like America, where the main thing is like sense gratification and things like that? And so many people are engaged in sense gratification.
It's karma. They're getting opportunity for material life, sense gratification. They're trying to enjoy. They'll get some enjoyment, but that will also run out. May run out real soon. If they keep doing what are they doing, the party might be over real soon. Did you hear about the new hypersonic ballistic missiles from Russia? Oh yeah, oh my God. There's absolutely no defense against this type of weapon, missile system. And then Biden, like, he doesn't even know what time of day it is. You know, he's like shot, you know. And he's like, yeah, let's give Zelensky some nuclear weapons. That'll be great. That'll be super duper plan. Oh yeah, he's from Ukraine. He's Ukrainian. It's all his fault. Would you give this guy tactical nuclear weapons? I mean, think about it. Would you put a vest on him? Maybe. Go for a walk, you know.
If I'm going down there,
Head east. Head east. There's a big bridge there. I better not even joke about this thing now. You don't know who's listening to all this stuff. Everybody's listening to this. All intelligence agencies are listening. I was only joking. Can someone say that in Russian, please, for me? Chinese, can someone say that in Chinese? Shalom. He wants to get me killed, assassinated. Yes.
He is the father of
Oh, that's your father? Oh, hello. How are you, my friend? Thank you for coming.
Yesterday he had come. He wanted to speak to you, but he could not.
Did you come to that class last night? Oh my God.
He's saying the class was very good.
That's great. I'm glad he was happy.
There is one problem.
There's so many problems. Which problem? What's your biggest problem?
Her mother is sick, so he wants her to go home for 5 days, and then she will come back.
Why don't you take care of the mother? The wife is always taking care of him, right? Why doesn't he take care of the wife? He's over here soliciting someone else to take care of her.
He's repeating his point that he will bring her back, or she may come also, like, you know. But he's promising that in 5 days.
No. No. Krishna doesn't want. You take care of your wife. She's always taking care of you. He's always in trouble. She's always helping you. Right? You help your wife. That's your responsibility.
He's saying that.
Is anyone translating to him what I'm saying? Yeah?
Now he's saying that she also has some responsibility.
Her responsibility now is to Krishna. Yeah. She gave up the material responsibility. No. Nice try, but no. You go home and take care of your wife. That's your responsibility. Your wife's taking care of you all the time. Your daughters are taking care of you all the time. Now you take some responsibility. Now you become responsible man.
He's saying that yes, he was doing, but now it's been so many months, and he's saying that I am busy into some stuff, something else. So he has to take care of it.
No, that's your responsibility. She already did enough for you. Now you take care of yourself. She already so many years tried to help your family and sacrificed everything for your family. Now you take responsibility for your family.
He is saying that 8 months I did not ask her to come, but now you cannot allow even for 5 days?
No. She belongs to Krishna now.
He's saying, how are you cutting the relation of mother and father with them.
No, Krishna cut it. I didn't cut it, Krishna cut it. Because it's a Maya, it's asatsanga. You're not behaving like a religious, spiritual minded person, so why should she have to live and watch all of this thing in your household? Yeah. Now you're like Arjuna, now just surrender to Krishna. Then it will be perfect. Then we'll take care of not only your daughter, but you and your wife, if you surrender to Krishna. If you don't want to surrender to Krishna, and you want to act irreligious way, we have no obligation to satisfy your materialistic desire and materialistic attachment. We have no obligation there. You behave properly, then Krishna won't break up your family. Don't blame it on me. Blame it on yourself, on your own lack of taking responsibility and proper behavior. Don't come here blaming it on me, man. You created this problem a long time ago. I just met her recently. I didn't create your problem. Anybody else? This is what Maya does. Yeah. Oh, Max, you're still here.
I wanted to know, do we have to come on the platform of the soul to become aware of Paramatma in our heart?
No, remain in Tamagun. And get a Harry Potter stick. Tap yourself 3 times. Put some magical dust on you somehow. Anyone else with a serious question? What point? Yes? I'm like a spiritual father now. You're a material father, I'm a spiritual father. You're the father of the body, I'm the father of the soul. That's the difference. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Sri Gurudev. My question is, it was explained that in spiritual world, people are completely pure and they are able to constantly hear Krishna in their heart, and also
only if you're in Goloka Vrindavan.
what about Vaikuntha?
You get the local incarnation of Krishna. You get something, someone else. You get Narayana, 4-handed Narayana. You don't get Krishna. If you want Krishna, you have to go to Goloka Vrindavan. You have to go to Mahaprabhu. Krishna Loka. Otherwise, how are you going to think about Krishna? You need Krishna Prema to always think about Krishna. If you have Krishna Prema, you leave this body, then Krishna says you come back to me, means Krishna Loka, and then you don't have to come back again to the material world. Alright? And there's no Paramatma in Vaikuntha. That's only in the material world. There it's Krishna, it's the Lord Himself directly manifesting. not the Paramatma. Alright? Sure? You're inquiring about Vaikuntha? What happened to you? Are you thinking about Vaikuntha now? And Krishna Loka and where your soul is going at the end of your life? Now you're thinking about that? That's good. That's the whole point. Otherwise we'll not even think about it. We're just like, oh yeah, we're going back home, back to Godhead. And then you're like, well, what is Godhead? I don't know, it's just a great place. We're all trying to go back home, back to Godhead. And then in ISKCON they say, you know, whenever you die, everybody's going back to Krishna. Everybody's with Prabhupada, everybody going back. Automatically. Krishna says when you're completely free from sin and material desire and sinful reaction, then you can go back to Vaikuntha. So if that's not done, when you leave your body, that means you have material desires, material thoughts, material attachments. Then when you're leaving your body, then that's where you're going to go. You're going to get another material body. If you only think about Krishna, then Krishna said, then you'll come to me. So it's a question of desire and whether that is completely pure or whether it's mixed. That will determine where our soul will go when it leaves this present body. Alright? Are you sure? Okay. But what was your point about always thinking about Krishna? You see, Lord Ram, he has a Hanuman, right? When you break open Hanuman's heart, Lord Ram is there, right? He doesn't want to think about Krishna. His Ishtadev is Ram, Lord Ramachandra. So according to the desire of the heart, then also Krishna is assuming that form as Ishtadev, the Lord of your heart. So Prabhupada said this is Krishna consciousness, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He didn't say God consciousness. He didn't say Narayana consciousness or Vishnu consciousness or Ram consciousness. He said Krishna consciousness. His Mahaprabhu means Golok Vrindavan. Krishna Prema, Goloka Vrindavan, one of the four rasas with Krishna. That is supreme destination. So here's Krishna directly saying how to achieve the supreme destination, and we're like little to no real seriousness about understanding or accepting the instructions. That's how unfortunate, how fallen we are in the Kali Yuga. We have no liking for it, no attraction. Is a jaundice condition. So Krishna sends a spiritual master and he's trying to purify us, he's trying to somehow or other convince us, attract us, drag us, persuade us, beg us to be fortunate. And still we're just like, well, okay, everyone has their own truth and their own understanding and their own way. Right? This is progressivism. Everyone has their own truth, their own way, their own path, their own understanding, based on speculation and sentimentality. And it's not scientific. Prabhupada said this is exacting science. It cannot be sentimental, emotional, speculative. It must be scientific. Otherwise it won't work. My Guru said if you have one tinge of doubt, it won't work. Because that means we're not trusting Krishna. If we don't trust Krishna, we don't trust the Guru, we don't trust the instruction, we don't trust the Shastra, we don't trust the path, then we're grumbling and complaining, doubtful, suspicious, then how we're going to progress in spiritual life? Prabhupada said you cannot progress at all in your spiritual life if this is your condition or mentality. Listening to stupid mind and taking it as significant because of pride and arrogance. We think whatever we're thinking up, whatever comes to our mind, automatically it's some brilliant thought and plan and idea and thing that has to be considered. No simplicity. That's why I cannot hear, cannot put faith, always in trouble, always misunderstanding, nothing is clear, everything is confusing. That's why. Any other points, questions? You look better. How can I know if I didn't take your pulse? Right? Doesn't the doctor have to put the pulse? So how do I know that you're doing better if I didn't feel your pulse?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Hare Krishna.
And like my question is, when actually many times I got like bewildered because with my consciousness without
With the what?
With like my consciousness like under like lower modes of material nature, without
Yeah, listening to Maya,
yes,
like through your mind and intelligence and senses. Yeah.
without the association like with direct association with spiritual master, how actually I can understand what is coming from Krishna and what is coming from Maya, because sometimes like you think it's Krishna, you've also many times said what is coming from Maya, you think that is coming from Krishna, and what is coming from Krishna.
The spiritual master is giving us general and specific instructions. So general instructions are hearing and chanting 16 rounds, hearing Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavad Gita, hearing as it is, Prabhupada program. That's meant for everyone. Wherever you are in Varnashram system, everyone has to do that general instructions based on hearing and proper hearing and chanting. Prabhupada calls it proper and sufficient hearing and chanting. Then also specific instructions. Spiritual master is giving some do's and some don'ts and some service that you can practically do and offer in the preaching mission of the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Then you just follow that instruction. Why is that confusing? If you're just simply following those instructions, why would you become confused? Are you doubting the instructions? Are you not liking the instructions? So why are you confused? Why are you asking, what are my instructions? So that means you don't know your instructions? You didn't make the instructions your life and your soul? Then what are you going to listen to? Maya will just be running you around. This or that, here, there, maybe this, maybe that, maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe married, maybe not. Maybe this country, maybe that country. You'll be all over the place. You won't be able to ground yourself. Because Krishna didn't convince you. Because you didn't want to be convinced. The problem is not Krishna's problem. The problem is our problem. If Krishna wants to, if we want to be convinced and Krishna wants to convince us, then there's no doubt, no question. Why didn't Krishna convince us? Because we're listening to Maya. Maya is convincing us. So Krishna is not going to interrupt. So if you're not convinced, that means Krishna didn't convince you. That means you're not convinced. That's why he didn't convince you. If you absolutely want to know, and you really want to surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will directly tell you. Inside, outside, through the Shastra, constant confirmation. It will be always consistently clear what Krishna wants you to do. But if you're listening to the mind and the speculating and your feelings and emotions and ideas and listening to all of this concoction, manufacturing, guessing, speculating, sentimentality, then you're lost. That means not sufficient or proper hearing and chanting because of lack of simplicity, and because of lack of simplicity, no faith, no understanding, no proper understanding and no faith, then how will you be convinced? How will you be grounded? How will you know what Krishna wants you to do? Then you end up in that condition. So we're going to surrender. We're going to hear. There's going to be some plan. But the question is it coming from Krishna, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, or is it coming from Maya? And you're going to have a heaven and hell different experience and results based on who we're surrendering and doing submissive all reception to and who we're hearing from. If we don't hear properly from Guru and Krishna, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, you cannot give up mental speculation. You'll be constantly harassed by mental speculation. Once you absolutely know and Krishna completely convinces you, then why would you speculate about, I wonder what Krishna wants me to do? It's already clear what he wants you to do. So if Krishna tells, my Guru tells me, I want you to be a preacher, then why should I try to speculate what can I do that Krishna will make Krishna happy? What service can I do? I already know. Only have to do it. So there's no need for speculation because it's already clear. Speculation, ideas, plans, desires, it's endless. You get no relief. And then when you start thinking through all of these plans, it's always scary because we don't know what the hell that's going to turn out to be. So now in complete anxiety based on a speculative plan which came from Maya, then where's the confidence? Where's the peace? Where's the idea of real happiness that will come from trying to follow that? It's designed to fail. If it's coming from Maya, it's designed to fail. So if you like that idea, try it out. And when you get tired of that, exhausted, frustrated, disturbed, disappointed, and disgusted by that, then we'll think to surrender to Krishna. And ask Krishna, what do you want me to do? I already tried every other thing. It's not working. I actually believe it will never work. There's nothing I can concoct or come up with or speculate or plan that any of that's going to work. So you'll lose faith and determination and confidence in that process and in listening to these speculative so-called options which are separate from what Krishna wants you to do. It's the only way out. It's the only ticket out. Now, that's up to us whether we can hear that and whether we can internalize it and accept that, and whether we can actually surrender by hearing. Prabhupada said you can learn by hearing, or you have to learn by a stick. So like at what point do we say, you know what, maybe hearing is better than the stick? Like at some life, some point? Can't we just learn by hearing? Does it always have to be disaster and crisis management for us to get the point? Anybody else? Did I answer the question? Who was asking me the question? Oh, Enrico. When you really want to take shelter, you'll make the instructions your life and soul, because that's the only place you can go to find relief from the onslaught and the attack of Maya. Only by that surrender to the instructions of Guru and Krishna will Rishikesh purify and control your mind and your senses for you. Without surrender to Rishikesh, master of the mind and the senses, there is no control of your mind and senses. And that surrender is based on the instructions we received from Krishna through Guru. My friend back there, how are you today? Is he speaking in the Russian?
You do not speak.
Russian?
You do not want to speak. He doesn't want to speak.
He's saying, I don't want to speak.
You don't want to say what language you speak?
He doesn't want to speak anything.
He just wants to hear?
Yes.
Okay.
He doesn't want to speak. Why are you giving him the mic?
I wish I could say that. I just, imagine if I came here and said, I don't feel like speaking. I wish I had that ability to say that. I don't feel like speaking tonight. But I can't say that because my Gurudev won't be happy with me. And Prabhupada won't be happy with me. And then I won't get mercy. And then without mercy, I'm finished. So then I have to do it. Because I need the mercy, whether I like it or not. That's why if you know the instruction, you can do it whether you like it or not. Whether you feel good or you don't feel good. It doesn't matter. Because there's no option. That's a relief. When there's no option, that's a great relief. Because then you're freed from Maya's attack of endless mental speculation. I remember one person, he came in Bhubaneswar, and I was preaching every day, and he was so disturbed by me. And he visibly, really, almost hated me, you know? And he was coming every day to the class. And I was like, you know, you don't have to come to this class. Nobody forcing you to come to the class. Because I could see he doesn't like me, he has no faith, he's not really listening, he's finding fault, he's criticizing, he's being judgmental, right? And he's sitting right in the middle, I can't avoid his smiling face. So I'm almost begging him, you don't have to come to the class. And he said, Prabhupada says we're supposed to go to the class. So I'm here. And I'm like, well, what is this guy going to hear, man? You have no faith, you have no liking, you have no interest. You're just doing out of like a fanatic. You can't hear anything I'm saying. You can't consider fairly anything I'm saying. You're criticizing, finding fault, judging, feeling yourself more superior position. So what's the point? They're supposed to be, humble, submissive, our reception. So Prabhupada said, find a place, find a guru. Of course, Prabhupada said, don't find a guru, try to find the guru, which is a whole nother topic, controversial, because everybody wants to be a guru. I mean, if everyone wants to be God, is it so difficult to think everyone wants to be the guru? Aren't we always trying to establish ourselves and our understanding and our opinion and our advice and our instructions to every living entity who can tolerate us? So Prabhupada said, find the guru that you can surrender to and do submissive aura reception. That's why I say it doesn't have to be me. Find wherever, if someone's bona fide authorized guru in disciplic succession, if you can get that intelligence and faith from Krishna, from the mercy of Sadhu Guru Vaishnava, then you'll surrender, then you can do submissive aura reception. Otherwise you won't hear anything. It'll not go, it won't even go in one ear and out the other. It won't even enter into the ear. What to speak of in and out of the ear? The truth is the truth. It's not my truth. I didn't make this whole thing up. I just heard from perfect source. And it was pointed out in Prabhupada's books and teachings, so it's authoritative according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And when we accept it, everything works very nicely. And when we doubt it and we challenge it and we don't accept it, then everything becomes haywire, everything goes crazy, everything becomes chaotic. Out of control mind and senses, speculation, lust, anger, all horrible, materialistic, demoniac qualities will manifest. So if you like that lifestyle, I guess you can continue to do that. Or some change is required. Some improvement is required. Any other thing? Yeah?
Krishna Srila Guru Maharaj. Enrico's question reminded me of something that's been on my mind.
I know what you're. I'm glad we understand each other.
Yes, so really sounds anyway. The issue that I've been coming up, that keeps coming up while I'm doing my seva, trying to follow the instructions that you gave me, general instructions. So like some people are coming and having requests and like their own individualistic requests of me.
Do you take requests?
Well, I'm also trying. You also instructed me to satisfy and serve the other devotees, or the devotees there.
No, I'm saying if you're living in the ashram and there's different services within the ashram, then just try to cooperate and take some of that responsibility, right?
One of the main sevas that I have is cleaning up the kitchen and organizing the kitchen, which takes.
That's a great service.
So
That was the first service I had, washing pots. I loved it.
I like it too, but it takes up a lot of time.
It does.
So these devotees are coming and asking.
And putting more pots and pans up.
No, that's fine. But they have their own oh, do this. Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you serve this? Can you do more?
Where do you get married, man?
Yeah. So I'm wondering.
He's already
Let me
complaining.
change the subject.
You ain't seen nothing yet. This is nothing.
So I asked one of the devotees for advice, and they told
And he
me,
told you to do more seva?
in a way, and he told me to pray and ask, Krishna for help to determine whether it's acceptable to take that request or not. And that I would feel like a pinch in my heart if it was like something that I needed to
Pinch?
do. Yeah. So I didn't quite understand what the instruction really was, so I wanted to ask you what.
Then you have to psychoanalyze the pinch. Right? Is that tāpa-trayeṇābhihatā and you're getting purification? Is that a negative reaction because you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing?
I don't know.
Right? And then you're just left with this type of not understanding the meaning of some of these things. So you just have to get the clarification. Right? If everyone could just pray to the super soul and get direct instructions from the super soul, then you don't need a guru. Right?
What ended up happening is it was disrupting the seva and also disrupting my japa and my sleep. So I started...
The service or the request?
No, the request.
The request.
Yeah. So I'm trying to understand what the balance is. Should I just focus primarily on that seva and then
I think when you're especially when you're a new person, you should be allowed to focus on your hearing and chanting as a first priority. That means chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra peacefully, happily, and also being able to go to Bhagavatam class or to hear Bhagavad Gita class, to hear Prabhupada's books and teachings. This is first priority. If we don't do like that, you won't be peaceful and happy. You won't be following the general instructions. And then we won't be in the right consciousness, and we won't have the right motivation to do any other type of service. So that's the priority, and it's first before any other seva. So if things become a little bit confusing or something you're not like regularly understanding or overcoming, then just get the clarification. Pray to Krishna, that's true, and then just get the clarification until your soul is satisfied.
So when you say...
And then so if your soul is satisfied, then you can peacefully chant. Right? If you just keep dwelling on and disturbed by this type of emotional or speculative, reoccurring disturbance, that means it's not dealt with. It's not, you're not purified, convinced, not, able to be peaceful enough to be able to get freed from that speculation. So that needs further instruction, further clarification. And especially for newer people who are coming, they cannot be too overwhelmed by external or specific services, especially if it's cutting into the time that they need to be able to peacefully chant and hear and chant to follow general instructions.
Originally, that's what I was doing, was I was establishing a firm boundary that I couldn't do these extra things until I was done with that primary.
Yeah, so just discuss with, in some confidence, somebody who can understand you and who can help you to come to some kind of a conclusion or understanding of that situation. And then...
In your absence.
Hmm?
In your absence.
Yeah.
Would be somebody.
Yeah. And then if it can't really be cleared, then ultimately it will come to me, because I ask devotees, don't argue, don't fight with devotees, don't let it come to that point. Try to reasonably discuss, pray to Krishna, try to see if there's some different adjustments work or can work. And then if it just can't really be adjusted, it's not really working, not really satisfied, then I have devotees then ask me, right? And then I discuss with them as much as I can the totality of the situation, and try to come up with and pray to Krishna and come up with, understand the situation and come up with a reasonable answer, which I think, and Krishna will help us to pacify the situation. And you have to sometimes adjust a little bit here, a little bit there, until you find the right combination. Right? It's like sailing, right? Like you got to catch the wind like really nicely if you really want that thing to move. So sometimes you have to make some different adjustments to see like what's most advantageous in order for it to move like in a peaceful, efficient way.
And one of the adjustments that I thought that I had to make was to not attend the evening Bhagavad Gita class, because I was getting out of the kitchen sometimes like midnight or later, and so then I was trying to attend.
No, that's too late.
Yes.
That's too late.
So that's why
you cannot be going to sleep that late, because otherwise you will not get up in the morning. And if you don't get up in the morning, and you don't go to Mangalarti, and you don't chant nicely early, and you don't hear Srimad Bhagavatam, then the whole rest of the day will be a disturbance. You'll be disturbed. So that means the services have to be adjusted to allow the devotees to properly hear and chant. And if we have like, a situation where like we have this prasadam stall, right? So maybe devotees take a turn. It's not that all of those devotees like all the time are taking those particular shifts. So that's why I'm saying that there can be different adjustments and sharing different responsibilities so that it can be manageable, adjustable. So maybe sometimes you have to work some shift, but not consistently, not regularly. You cannot be up to midnight doing anything.
I was doing it, and then like a few days, like I was waking up, and then I was chanting, but then like gradually.
This won't work. If it's an emergency or some festival or some marathon or something, like you can do temporarily, but not on a regular basis. No way. It has to be very predictable, very steady, as much as possible.
So as a newcomer, I should not be
For anybody.
No, I mean regarding like not going to one of the classes. Should I not sacrifice that and make it there and then adjust the?
Well, it's if you have not a lot of hands on deck, and you have a lot of different responsibilities. So that's why I say that you can make some adjustments, right? So maybe once a week or twice a week, I'm not going to that evening class. Right? I'm just giving like an example, right? So maybe it's not perfect, but it's shared responsibility. And then if it becomes that everybody is working in or doing service in a way that's not consistent or helpful towards hearing and chanting, then that means that we're not heading in the right direction with the overall plan. That means there needs to be a major adjustment in terms of the focus of what we're trying to do. And that's part of the discussion as we see the reality on the ground of whether things can be reasonably adjusted to keep everyone as peaceful as possible, especially in the hearing and chanting. And then if that's not happening, then adjustments have to then start to be implemented until you right the situation. And then if that can't be done like that, then that means the whole overall plan of what you're trying to do has to be reassessed and recalibrated. So it may also come to that. So if you just have nice istagosti, nice discussion with devotees, trying to make best possible adjustments personally and collectively as reasonably possible, and then we adjust as we go, because we're, it's a preaching mission, we're in a city, we're in, complicated and not easy environments, and then new people coming, and so it takes a bit of it takes a lot of balancing. And then if you don't have qualified leadership, then this also creates a problem, because then they're overwhelmed or have a lack of understanding or experience how and what to do and how to communicate in a way that will be able to pacify and deal with these different adjustments which may be required to regulate and stabilize the situation. So this is always the challenge, because it's very difficult to spread the movement but find very responsible and matured and capable people to take, management positions or responsible positions. This is always the conflict, the problem. Because spiritual master wants to endlessly spread it and open temples and preaching centers and, spread it far and wide as much as possible. But if you don't have the manpower and you don't have the quality and the ability to train people to be able to pretty quickly come up to speed with handling those responsibilities, personal skills, communication skills, management skills. So that's why Ishtagosti and discussing with a simple open heart and sincerely trying to pray to Krishna and try to work together and try to find ways to cooperate, then you have to have this approach where devotees feel that we're all in this together and we're helping each other and we're trying to just make the best use of the bad bargain, and we're trying to help each other how to take care of each other and how to handle all of the responsibilities at the same time. And that takes a lot of maturity and it takes a lot of communication amongst devotees to be able to bridge the differences. And then there's a lot of diversity, different cultures, different bodies, different backgrounds, different languages. This is very, very complex. To be able to understand everybody properly according to their psychophysical nature, according to their education, according to their culture, according to their family background or not a good family background. So this is not easy, even for people who are very qualified. It's not exactly an easy situation. So what to speak of people who don't have necessarily that experience or ability or skills. So that's why Ishtagosti and praying and working together and trying to have reasonable discussion amongst devotees and trying to help each other to make the best possible decisions, and then without fighting or arguing, just get clarification from spiritual master so that it can be kind of finalized and some reasonable next plan can be understood and adopted to see if it can work and how it works, and then learn by the results of that situation of what works and what doesn't work. And you just have to take it like one step at a time.
So one of the
I can't. The problem is I can't expend myself in every center simultaneously, and that's why a lot of the time, like spiritual master, he's trying to train and trying to give extra time and explain all of the subtleties and try to help them, to give them, understanding and experience and some skills to be able to better manage and to deal with people and to have proper communication skills with them to be able to deal with the complexity of that situation. So I'm really trying to do that as much as possible. But then everyone has to try to practice it. Everyone has to try to come up, through hearing, getting some training, trying to apply it, what works, what doesn't work. And that's part of the growing up and, it's a maturation process. So anyway, this is just a very honest answer to you. This is not just a black and white answer. This is not just some simple, because we're taking on extra burden and complexity every time we try to spread and open a preaching center or a temple. $1 and a flight, and here's a piece of paper with some guy's name on it in Japan, and I go open a temple, and telling some 19, 20-year-old kid they never even were on a plane before. and never left their house, and you're going to some other country to start a Vedic temple. You got a phone number and a one-way ticket with no money, no manpower. They were like eating off of plastic instead of plates. They didn't even have money to buy plates. So, like real simple. We're like little spoiled. It's like, well, what is the accommodations? What time is prasadam? What time will everything be served? So, then we'll decide whether we'll accept it and surrender and perform the austerity and take the burden and responsibility. So it's a interesting balancing act, to say the least. And it really takes a sincere effort, but also a lot of merciful intelligence and strength and ability to deal with personal and collective complexities, right?
One of the things that I had suggested, because I was missing all of the classes in the evening, was that if I could listen to the live feed or something while I was in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But that never happened.
Why?
I didn't bother them enough about it. I don't know. But so I would just listen to your lectures.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but I'm just wondering if that's acceptable.
No, I feel bad. I'm sorry it's me. You know what I mean? I didn't really ask for this, so please excuse me. But anyway, what to do? I'm trying.
I'm just wondering if that's acceptable, or should I be in the evening class? Is that okay?
Can we work out the details? I'm giving a general instruction. Can we work out the details in the way that I just explained?
Yes.
And then we'll try to see. I think I made it clear. There's people here. Everyone's listening to this class, so everyone's getting the general idea and instruction that this thing has to be figured out. So that's the first step. All right? Anybody else? The Birdman. Yes. Do you have a question? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Sri Gurudev.
Hi, Bob.
He first say Hare Krishna from his side.
Hare Krishna.
And he also wants to know what is his instruction, what Guru Krishna wants to do from him.
I have no idea. Did you ask the authorities that you're working with? Did they give you seva to help in the ashram? Aren't you serving every day? Doing so many different seva in the ashram? Are you also doing Harinam sometimes? Are you doing sometimes book distribution? Are you going to the temple programs? You're doing all of those things? So, you need more seva? Should I give you more seva, or is that enough for you? Does he have more time? We can give him more seva, Shalendra? Or do you think that's enough?
He's tight.
He's tight? Maybe we can make him sleep less. Is that possible? How many hours are you sleeping a day? If you add it up.
6 hours, like 8 hours.
8 hours? You're like a young guy. Maybe you can sleep less. We give you more seva. What do you think? Can you handle it? Shailendra, he'll help you. He'll give you more seva if you want to sleep less. If it's not tight enough, we can tighten it up for you. All right. Are you satisfied with the amount, or you want more seva?
Saying it's okay.
He got his answer, right? Otherwise, it's going to be another like screw into the ground, you know. Oh my God. I was thinking some of the things I was saying, I was like, oh my God, how I'm saying all of these things. Don't get started. Don't get me started on all of these things. Because then I can't get off of that highway, you know. All right, is that good?
Actually, Gurudev, he also want to clarify, because you give him more seva, then he thought, because I am doing something wrong, maybe that's why Gurudev wants to change something, add something. They are now confused.
Are the devotees who are helping you, are they happy with you? They look happy with you. So if they're happy with you, why don't you just be happy? Don't worry about it.
You want to know you are happy or his seva?
I'm happy if you're happy. I'm happy. If I'm happy, are you happy? Then we're all happy. It's fantastic. Another satisfied customer. Oh, Krishna. Gurudev, should I be as happy as I am? Do I have permission to be happy? No, you have to beat yourself. Any last thing?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Nobody else is going.
Who has?
So, yeah, there's this thing that was coming up. When is somebody too enthusiastic? What is that? What is that? Is it like
I'm losing my enthusiasm. Well, it starts with like being able to get out of bed. That's like a good sign. That's like a really good start, you know. Check. Take a shower. Okay. Check. You're heading in right direction. Find your beads. Chant nicely. Check. Right? So if we do all of those things, Prabhupada said, if you do all those things nicely, sincerely, you'll be happy. You'll be enthusiastic.
Because sometimes there's been some complaints about too much clapping or dancing.
Too much what?
Clapping, or too much.
Are you clapping like a walrus, or?
Maybe. Or like dancing too. Sometimes dancing too enthusiastic.
Are you dancing like a banshee?
I don't know. So I'm asking, like,
are you jumping through the roof? Or is he complaining about your chanting and dancing, Max?
Not that I know of. But now's the time, if he wants to.
Max, is he all right?
Yeah, he inspires me.
Max is mad. I woke up Max again.
Yeah, I actually had a
Krishna. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. You see, if you're doing for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, and Guru and Krishna are happy, then you'll be happy, and devotees will be happy. If we're not doing for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, and you're not happy, and devotees around you are not happy, that means something's wrong. You judge by the results. So we can be saying, oh, this is for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, but if you're not really happy, and nobody's really happy with you, that means something is dysfunctional there. So we shouldn't just assume. Now, if you're genuinely following everything, and you're happy, and Guru's happy, and devotees are happy, and somebody's just envious or jealous or temporarily insane, they may not be happy, right? But it's more like a one-off, But like if the whole temple is like really not happy, you're like, well, I'm happy. Then you might want to just say, okay, nobody's happy. I think I'm happy. But why are these people not happy? You might want to like recheck it, recalibrate it, Adam. You know what I mean?
What if I told you that you just answered my question?
What?
He said, what if I told you you just answered my question?
I'd be totally surprised.
Thank you, Srila.
You're very welcome, Matt. It's unbelievable. It's like 2 for the price of 1, Actually, every instruction of Bhagavatam, Guru Sadhana Shastra, is meant for our soul. So every word, every instruction from Guru Sadhana Shastra, that's meant for our soul. So we should just, whatever we hear, we should be trying to directly internalize and see how those instructions, how we can be benefited by understanding and either reinforcing or strengthening or reminding or correcting. All of those things are very beneficial. So don't try to think that, oh, those instructions are good for that devotee and this devotee and that devotee. Right? Take every instruction to heart yourself. Whether other people hear it, whether they understand it, whether they can take advantage of it, that's not our lookout. So if we're just listening for what do we need to hear, and again, like I said, you can say, oh, that's reinforcing and giving faith in what I already know. Oh, that's reminding me of something that I hadn't thought about recently, that I should think about. Or that's correcting me and my misunderstanding or misconception. Or even Guru and Krishna are chastising me by how you hear those instructions. So if we're really smart, we'll just hear every single instruction and take every instruction personally and see how can you use that in your own development, for your own advancement, if you're really smart. So don't think, well, that instruction's not for me, oh, that's not applicable to me. No, every instruction is meant for our soul. That means Krishna, through Bhagavatam, is directly preaching to our soul, whatever those instructions are. Then you'll always feel benefited, because you took a full advantage of the opportunity and tried to internalize and try to utilize those instructions for your own spiritual advancement. So you're maximizing the opportunity. And especially if you don't always have direct association with spiritual master, then we have to take like full advantage of the moments and the times and the opportunities that we have to associate and hear in the best possible consciousness and in a very eager and attentive way, and then we get the benefit and the mercy during that type of time and effort, something like that. All right. And then sometimes you can just ask devotee, maybe I offended you, I made some mistake, please excuse me. Take humble position. Well, what is the harm? In every given situation, every exchange, we're supposed to be studying the way that we go through that experience. So what could I have done better? What was very useful and effective? What was not appropriate or not effective? What can be learned, adjusted for the next time that similar type of test or experience is given to us? And we have to try to pass these tests and learn all of the dynamics and the tattvas and the subtleties in all of these different opportunities and tests that we go through the course of our day. So when I ask devotee, what did Krishna teach you today? And they're like, nothing. So where is your Krishna consciousness? Every moment Krishna is teaching us something. How do you say there's nothing that I learned today? Krishna didn't show me anything today. He didn't emphasize anything today for me. That means we're unconscious. Not listening, not understanding properly. Does that help? Yeah? All right, any last thing? We're good? I think that's good. I think that's enough. Yes, Misha? That was almost enough. I almost escaped. Don't laugh.
Hare Krishna Gurudev.
Hare Bol.
If devotees is follow instruction, if one devotee is follow instruction, spiritual master, and this devotees is left body.
He wants to what?
Left the body. While following the instruction of spiritual master, he leaves the body.
Will Krishna make his suffering less in his new birth?
Is this somebody's question? Whose question is this?
My question.
Oh, that's your question. Are you planning on leaving, or he's calculating how much suffering am I going to have on my way out of here? That's very dark, Misha. Is this how you're thinking? How do I minimize my suffering while I'm leaving? That's not really our goal.
He said if somebody is following instructions of Guru Krishna and they leave the body, will Krishna reduce the suffering in the next life? That was his question.
So the instructions are to think about Krishna and remember that we're servant and disciple, serving in Guru Krishna samsara and trying to serve and remember for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. So that's the purpose of the instructions. It's not just some instructions that are like disconnected from your soul or from the spiritual master or from Krishna. So you have to see the totality of the instructions and the consciousness and the motivation. All of that has to be understood consciously, and that will determine next life. if you leave your body. Definitely you'll get a better opportunity in the next life. I was reading one place in this Vaikuntha explanation of Vaikuntha, and then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning that, don't expect and don't think that you're going to go back to Godhead in one lifetime. Prabhupada directly telling like this. So these people, whenever they die, they leave the body. Yes, he went back to Prabhupada. He went back to Golok Vrindavan. Right? And the Prabhupada, he was saying that, don't really think that it's so easy and so cheap that in one life you're just going to go home, back to Godhead. It may take, few more lives. And, we just want a better, opportunity every time so that we can start sooner in a better family, in a better condition, with a better opportunity as early as possible. And then in this way, you can pick it up much more effectively. Right now, we may not have the right body, the right family, the right education, the right sukriti, too much sinful activity. So there's a lot of things that we're trying to adjust based on the reality of a birth in Kali Yuga. So we should not just assume and just take it so easily and so cheaply that it's just gonna be that easy. And especially when you're leaving the body, the descriptions of how difficult that is. That's why you have to prepare sooner. Not that you just, I'll wait till I'm ready to die and then I'll become Krishna conscious. This thing has to be cultivated and practiced and purified and faithful, and needs to become a habit, a way of life, in order to be able to be that conscious through the biggest test there is when you're leaving this body. This is the most painful, difficult test. So this is not just some easy, cheap thing that, just because you died and you did some devotional service, then, there's, no difficulty and automatically you just go back to Vaikuntha. It's not so easy situation like that. Prabhupada says here, this is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, in the description of the kingdom of God, 3:15:24 verse. 3:15:24, Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto. In the translation, Lord Brahma is explaining to the demigods. He said, "My dear demigods, the human form of life is of such importance." Grantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Human form of life is of such importance that we also desire to have such a life, for in the human form. So this is Lord Brahma and demigods saying, asking and praying for a human form. Because on this platform, then we may have the opportunity to elevate our consciousness enough to go back to Godhead. So he's saying to the demigods that the human form of life is of such importance, because it can transfer you to the spiritual world, that we also, Lord Brahma is saying to the demigods, we also desire to have such a life. For in the human form, not demigod form, in the human form, one can attain perfect religious truth and knowledge. If one is in the human form of life, if he does not understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and does not understand his abode, Vaikuntha, it is to be understood that he is very much affected by the influence of the external material nature, Mahamaya. So, if we don't understand, that means so much Maya, so much heavy Tamagun, Rajagun, so much sinful desire, attachment, sinful reaction is done. So Prabhupada says in the purport that Brahmaji, he condemns very strongly the condition of the human being who does not take any interest in the personality of Godhead and his transcendental abode, Vaikuntha. So he's condemning them, that you're not interested in this offer to understand the Lord and understand his supreme abode. The human form of life is desired even by Brahmaji. Brahma and the other demigods have much better material bodies than human beings and a much higher level of material sense gratification. Yet the demigods, including Brahma, nevertheless, they desire to attain the human form of life because it is specifically meant for living entities who can attain to transcendental knowledge and religious perfection. Prabhupada says it is not possible to go back to Godhead in one life. But in the human form, one should at least understand what is the goal of life and begin this process of Krishna consciousness. So, he's trying to say basically you're wrapping up, you're in the process of wrapping up this birth and death program. So it's all winding down, purifying and winding down. But Gurudev said, but if you're very, very serious, then in one life you can do it. So Gurudev really emphasized that, the seriousness of a person to do it in one life. And then Prabhupada saying it's not possible to do it in one life. So that tells you that devotees are encouraging to go for it, but should be also understand that this is not so easy, cheap, automatic attainment. Oh, he died automatically, he went back to Goloka Vrindavan, he's with Prabhupada, it's like, oh my God. There's no tattva. There's no understanding of the reality of the situation. It's sentimental, right? It is said, Prabhupada said, that the human form is such a great boon or benediction because it is the most suitable boat for crossing over the nescience ocean. So this demigod body, their level of sense enjoyment, material attachment, such long life, it's not a suitable body to go from heavenly planets back to Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. So they have to come back down here into the human form, material world, and go to this process of tāpa-trayeṇābhihatā in order to maximize the opportunity to reach the goal of life, to get Krishna prema, to go back to Krishna. The human being, Prabhupada says, who does not take advantage of all of these facilities and opportunity in this life is simply committing suicide. It's a spiritual suicide. So if we let these doubts, demons of doubts, overtake us, to such a degree that we're not able to take advantage of the opportunity, then instead of becoming the most fortunate, we become the most unfortunate. And then it says you'll just become a killer of your own soul. So a human being who does not take advantage of all of these facilities and opportunities given to us in this life is committing suicide. Therefore, one who does not begin Krishna consciousness in human form of life loses his life due to the heavy influence of this illusory energy. This is not for children, it's not for foolish people, faithless people. They can never hear it, they can never take advantage of it. So you have to be simple, faithful, serious, take it serious. Then you get mercy of Guru Krishna. Then impossible can become possible. If we don't take advantage of that opportunity, then we are consciously or unconsciously committing spiritual suicide. And Prabhupada says you're risking losing the human form of life in the next life. So Lord Brahma here, Prabhupada says, he's regretting the situation of such a human being who doesn't take advantage of this opportunity and the facilities being offered to us. So I had a desire to read that, and somehow or other this question gave me some excuse, because I had a desire that I wanted to share that with you, and I had highlighted it, you see, because I wanted to remember the verse and purport so that I could share that with you. So this is not cheap. We should not just assume so many things. This is for serious people. This is said that this is for those people who want liberation from cycle of birth and death, who have made up their mind and decision. And without that, then these instructions, you cannot take advantage of these instructions. It will not penetrate you. It will not persuade you. It will not convince you. Because we have different mindset and different desire. And that's unfortunate. So Krishna devotee, they're offering to one and all. But who can hear it? You know, who can understand? This is like golden opportunity, like only opportunity. And then who can just go for that boldly, fearlessly? It's rare. Because most people, they're not really very serious. But it's being presented as an opportunity for those who may hear this and may be serious. This is meant for them. Krishna coming, he's speaking to Rajarshis, people. But we're like so low class. We're not even like Shudra. Shudras in Daivi Varnashram. They're following the Vedic scriptures. So Prabhupada said, if you're not following the Vedic scriptures in Vedic culture, then you're less than human consciousness. So now how less than human consciousness are we going to actually be able to hear this opportunity that's being offered to us? It's only mercy of Sri Guru Gauranga and the potency, the empowerment of the words that may be able to penetrate through the different gross, subtle layers of material contamination, false ego, that they might be able to hear that this is only ticket out. This is only opportunity. And we have to be fortunate enough to hear that, otherwise we'll not take advantage of the offering. and then we're lost. Then there's no real shelter or protection. Then we're in a very dangerous position whether we can understand it or not understand it. Right, Deva? So thank you for bringing this, because then I couldn't have shared that. So we went from laughing about the Saurav's helmet last night to trying to figure out how to not become the most unfortunate tonight. Something to think about, Bob, right? Young kids, man, you know what I mean? All right, any last thing while I have you with me? Yes? Don't you live in the temple? And don't the temple have so many different deities there? Are you going to the temple and that's not Garuda. Are you going to the temple and are you doing deity worship in the temple? You're also doing in the temple deity worship? But no other deities in the temple, only your Gopal? You're not doing Gaurnitai? Alright. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. You have a question?
In this verse, it's written that the spiritual master is considered to be the most able captain in the boat.
Say it again.
In this verse, which you just read.
Which verse?
This one.
The one I'm reading? Really? Oh, good. Now she's going to challenge me. I love it. I welcome it. Yeah, let's go deeper. Yeah.
It's there. The spiritual master is considered to be the most able captain in that boat, and the information from the scriptures is the favorable wind for floating over the ocean of miseries.
Yeah, I was going to read that and I didn't. Now Krishna's reminding me that this is why you should have read that. I was like, should I read that part? So Prabhupada said, it is said that the human form is a great boon because it's the most suitable boat for crossing over the nescience ocean, or the ocean of nescience. The spiritual master is considered to be the most able captain in that boat. So the spiritual master is like a navigator of the boat. And then the information from the scriptures, that is like a favorable wind for floating that boat over the ocean of nescience, to go from material world back to the spiritual world. So we were talking about the sailing earlier, right? I need the favorable winds. So we need a nice instructions from Krishna and through Shastra, and then the spiritual master, he is the navigator, the captain of the boat. So you shouldn't fight with the spiritual master who's driving the boat. I want to drive. Right, we're supposed to be like, I'm a bad driver, I need you to drive it. So we have to, Prabhupada says, find a suitable spiritual master who's an able captain of the boat, of the navigator. So if we don't depend on Krishna to give us intelligence and faith, how do we know who is bona fide spiritual master, who is considered to be the most able captain or navigator to control the boat? That's why we have to depend on Krishna to give us proper intelligence and faith, especially if we're trying to hand over our life for the spiritual master to be the navigator to bring us over the ocean of nations. Prabhupada said it's not that you go find a spiritual master, you have to find the spiritual master. There's so many spiritual masters, right? But they may not be the spiritual master. So that means there's a distinction, there's a difference. So if it's about, I remember I tell you guys that story how when I was in Bhubaneswar and we're riding on motorcycles and swimming with the elephants in the forest, and it was like a safari, you know, and it was fun. You know, trying to find different water spots, jumping off cliffs like this, you know. And then we go and hear from Maharaj about the Hari-katha, Krishna Katha. So I think we got like a little carried away. And then we came to the class, and all of a sudden I hear Gurudev say, you know, your life doesn't belong to you anymore. And I was new in Bhubaneswar. And I hear Gurudev say, your life doesn't belong to you anymore. And it hit me like really deeply. And I was like, wow, that's a heavy statement. And he said, in fact, you belong to the spiritual master. You don't belong to yourself. Then I was like, whoa, that's a really heavy statement. And then Gurudev said, and you have to be prepared to die for that spiritual master. So this is not a joke. If we want Krishna Prema, if we want to go back home, back to Godhead, if we want their mercy, we have to be that prepared, take that kind of a risk, abandon everything, be ready to surrender everything, and faithfully, dutifully follow their instruction as they're guiding us. If we will cooperate with that, don't grumble and complain, and try to cooperate to the best of your ability, then you deserve mercy. Then you deserve mercy. But if we're doubting, we're lazy, we're stupid, we're crooked, not the good brain substance, right? Then how will we get mercy? So this is not for it's offered to everybody. But who's ready to say that my life doesn't belong to me? Now I belong to my spiritual master, and he's telling, this is what Krishna wants you to do, whether you like it or you don't like it. And then you're doing it not grumbling and complaining, and you're trying to get the mercy from spiritual master, and even sometimes taking big heavy burden and risk, even to the point of dying, leaving your body, being ready to leave it on the battlefield in effort to somehow or other execute order, instruction of our spiritual master. They deserve mercy. They deserve the reward. They earned it. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that the father has 4 sons and he wants to leave inheritance. Then he doesn't just give to all of the sons. He tests them and he sees who's most responsible, who has earned it, who has qualified themselves. Then he happily gives to them because they deserve it, they earned it, they qualified themselves. And the other people squandering it, not taking it seriously, he's not happy to give anything to them. So it's a very nice example. Don't just assume that it's like a done deal, that it's so easy. You know, if something's entailing, you know, being prepared to die on the battlefield, that's not easy. But we're talking about the greatest dana, Krishna Prem Dana, and going back home, back to Godhead, Golok Vrindavan. So we think we don't have to do anything, just die? What did you accomplish? I did some service and I died. Okay, go back to Golok Vrindavan. We'll get the Swami to come in and take some photo shots with you. How he helped you to go to Golok Vrindavan. He's the dying Swami. He's guaranteeing everyone a safe travel. Back to the Babaji. Back to the Babajis. Back home, back to the Babajis. Where we going? To the Babajis. So this is like serious business. And most people are not serious. And that's why Lord Brahma is condemning them. They're saying you don't even realize the opportunity that's being given to you. If you're smart enough and fortunate enough, you would take full advantage of the facilities and the opportunity and the guarantees that are being offered to you. And if not, then you're most unfortunate. You're so close and still so far away because of this stupid mind. We're getting cheated and we're listening to it, and she's creating doubts and we're listening to it, and we think we have options and we're thinking we belong to ourselves. That's all Maya. So in Maya, for Maya, ends in Maya, what is that result? Materially and spiritually you'll lose everything. So if we don't hear this version, if we don't hear this canvassing on behalf of Krishna, all we're hearing is Maya's version. Maya just has everyone trapped and brainwashed, just canvassing us from the beginning of the life, through the school system, through the education, through the government, through the media, social media. This is all brainwashing. So we need another presentation, we need another canvassing from Krishna and on behalf of Krishna to wake us up that there's another alternative which can make our life fortunate in this life and in the next life. We're not hearing that. So you have no opportunity to make another choice because we don't see another viable opportunity or choice. Nobody's offering us that. We're not hearing that. Make sense? And then that's up to us, whether we're going to be most fortunate or remain unfortunate. Are we going to get purified and liberate our soul, or are we going to be the killers of our own soul? I hope we can choose wisely. Prabhupada, many times when he finished in the class, he said, think it up, be intelligent, become fortunate, take advantage of the opportunity, because there's no guarantee. And also, death can come any moment. Nobody can say. We're not prepared for that. We're not even really thinking about that. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Shishi Gornitai ki. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai. Srila Gaur Govinda Swami Srila Gurudev ki. Jai. I went as far as I could. Like literally. Hi Krishna. How's the biking doing? Alright? You look better, you look strong. That's good. Krishna's helping you. I didn't know after last night's class, my God, if he comes back after that one, you know. He's talking about transcendental sound, and I'm talking about screwing devotees into the ground. Sometimes happens like that, you know. Hi, Krishna, thank you. Sit down for a minute. Let me have a cup of coffee. Not coffee. What is it? Okay, it's tea. Relax. It's tea. And it's hot. Coffee. Hare Krishna. Believe me, I didn't ask for this. But I'm duty bound to share it with you. Because my Gurudev gave a lot of effort to help me. Try to help the devotees. So I'm trying to help the devotees. Sometimes it doesn't feel like help. Sometimes pinching, sometimes chopping. He's trying to humble us and purify us. And even his words are like sometimes cutting us, pinching us. Because he knows if you can't get through the false ego, if they won't cooperate with that surgery, then the kata will not be able to enter into them. So he's taking a risk. Because Krishna says, you know, if somebody doing something, don't disturb them. If they're doing some positive thing in the society, don't approach them in their false ego and try to instruct them. And so Prabhupada said that this is Krishna's instruction, but Krishna's devotee, preacher, knows what is Krishna Mahaprabhu's intention to somehow save those souls. So preacher takes a risk of approaching us and our false ego to try to somehow or other convince us, purify us, advantage of the opportunity. So that's a risky work. Sometimes the spiritual master is like, why it should bother my head, right? That's a big disturbance. But if he doesn't take a risk, then he won't know who's serious, who will take it, oppose them or chastise them, right? Why it should bother my head? What am I getting out of that? But he's duty bound. He wants the preaching somehow or other to make us ingest it, to accept it, to internalize it. Otherwise the medicine will not take hold, will not be effective. Is that your kid? Haribol. Thank you everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shri Gurudev ki
Jai! Prabhupada, Srila Gaur Govinda Swami. I can't do it, man. I'm sorry. You can hand them out though. Everyone will be happy to get the shot. I burned the last of the fumes. Hare Krishna. All right, everyone. Was I better tonight than last night? Was I more serious? Did you get more faith tonight than last night? Last night was questionable. You guys were praying. What's really going on here? All right, everyone's good? Long emails. Did you get the message? Can they hear you?